So before we actually jump into learning what attributes are and what they do, let's first go over a few details that I want to pass to you guys. So what are attributes? Basically, attributes, they're quick ways to change how a property displays in Unity. A property always has some basic behavior. It always uses the basic Unity layout. For example, an integer could be just a field where you can type a value, but attributes could change that to maybe make an integer only be allowed within a certain range. And you define this using attributes. And there are some that ship with Unity. There are some pre-made attributes that you can use right away. And they also can be customized. That is, you can write your own attributes. And we're also going to learn this in this course, but of course in the future as we're just getting started. How do I apply these attributes? You've been seeing the attribute words in within square brackets, and attribute is basically that. So attribute is something that you can apply in front of classes, in front of variables, and even functions. And they basically extend the functionality of those fields. So in this example, you can see that I'm applying my attribute on a string, and this string will then extend the functionality or make other classes extend the functionality of this string, because the classes can read that there is an attribute attached to a field, and then using this information they can add some more details. Then they can of course also change how the attribute draws within the inspector, and this is what Unity does using these attributes. And as you can see, you have to insert the attribute before you define the variable, and you can have as many attributes as you want. You just have to stack them on top of the variable. And attributes must be compatible with the variable. That doesn't mean that you'll have an error if you apply a wrong attribute in the wrong type. It just means that you won't have any effects. And when you're defining, when you're coding your own attributes, you can define on top of which that can be applied. For example, you can define that an attribute can only be applied to variables. If you try to apply that attribute to functions, then you will have an error because that is a variable only attribute. But as soon as the application concerns, this is basically it. It's pretty simple. And in the next lecture, we'll take a look at some common attributes, both on top of variables as well as on top of functions.